Okay, guys, seems that it's D-Day today. I kind of wanted to show you something that I had picked up not too long ago in a project that I had been working on for the last 3 years and finally got finished. But what I picked up was this one gauge cattle car that had been restored. And it had been restored by a gentleman whose name was W.C. Johnson. And W.C. Johnson, I believe, was an officer who served in the Pacific Theater for the U.S. Navy in World War II and was later captured and spent the remainder of the war in a Japanese prisoner of war camp. I don't know what his backstory was before the war, but after the war, he came out and he did customizing work on electric trains, restorations, and all that kind of stuff. And if you're interested in his complete story, I believe there's a TCA site out on the internet that's got the complete story of what he did, who he teamed up with, things like that. But I had to show you this one gauge cattle car, which I think Ives' one gauge cattle car is the best cattle car in the template world, bar none. It is a toy, and yet it looks like the real McCoy. So anyhow, this is what we've got. All this work that you see right here is not rubber stamped. It's all hand lettered. And when Johnson got done with this project, let's see if I can get this right, he signed it, restored, 8/1969, W.C. Johnson. And those are Japanese caricatures. I have no idea what they mean, but every piece of work that I've seen, that is exactly how it's done. It is an absolutely fantastic piece of work. And like I say, I have seen his work, one-handed cameraman. I have seen his work many times, and it's always the same. It's signed the same. So I buy it as much for his work as I do for the car that he did. Now, this is my cattle car that I bought 3 years ago. I got it all painted up. I was not trying to restore it like an Ives. I was just trying to restore it. I bought this car. It had absolutely, positively no paint. Absolutely bright tin. No damage to it other than, these coupler guides here. They always get bent, but I straightened them out as best as I could. But I used rubber stamps. I can't rubber stamp as good as that guy can freehand paint. So that is just unbelievable, the kind of work that this gentleman did. The other thing that I've got here, these cars are all hand lettered, hand lined. Everything is done by hand. Johnson does not have his signature anywhere on this stuff. Nowhere. It looks like lithography. It's not. I would assume it's paint. It's all been hand lined, as is the Ives caboose. And these are all in one gauge. Somebody made these. Ives never made a one gauge caboose like this. And the same thing. This is all hand lettered. Every bit of it. So this outfit is really neat, and this Johnson is absolutely outstanding. So if you ever get an opportunity to buy any of his stuff or you see it online, I would highly recommend that you do it. It's worth it just for its artistic value. So let's see if we can get these things to run. Maybe not. Like I say, all right, got that. This is no problem to get hooked up. The original one gauge couplers. No springs. There we go. Now let's see if we can get this puppy. Bingo. Bingo was his demo. Okay. And believe it or not, I'm running this 1 gauge on my 5 gauge O-gauge standard gauge track. It just so happens that the rails line up. It's proper width. You got to be careful. I wouldn't be running it too fast because it could take a header off on the floor. But here we go. And I'd like to know what scale he did the Ives cars in, because the Ives cars are definitely smaller than the original Ives 1 gauge, as you can see. So there you go. Have a happy D-Day if that's absolutely possible. We'll be back later. Toodaloo, guys.